Good day, everyone. In our previous chapters, we have developed our first VR project using Unity and learned about the basics of C# programming in Unity. Now, let's go to some more advanced stuff. How do we develop a VR experience in Unity? One of the main things that we need to understand is a virtual reality experience not only puts us in an alternate world, but gives us the ability to interact with objects, to move around as if we are transported or teletransported to that virtual world. Interactions help us make those worlds as real as possible. So, in our present chapter, we will not only be understanding what interactions are, but how do you develop interactions? How do you use Unity and coding to develop these basic interactions? So, let's begin with understanding why interactions are important in virtual reality. First of all, what are interactions in virtual reality? So, as I said, virtual reality transports a user from his current reality to an alternate world. Now, in order for that person to feel as if he's really transported, he needs to touch, feel, or he needs to interact with objects. That interaction and that object responding you back is basically what interactions are in virtual reality. So basically, if you're walking from, say, one place to another, it's as if you're really walking in that world. You're transporting from one place to another. If you're grabbing hold and pushing something, or even if you're looking at something and the object responds to you back, that's what interactions are there in VR. And that's what makes the world, gives us an immersive experience, makes us go into a sense of telepresence or a sense of flow. And that's what keeps on making us real and real. So this is what we'll be exactly developing during our current chapters and in our future lectures also. What are the different types of interactions? Here are some of the few interactions that will be developing, especially keeping that we are using Google Cardboard as our main VR viewer in mind. So first of all, we'll learn how to walk in virtual reality. How do we run, teleport? How do we use a gaze timer? So if you're looking at something, how do we use a gaze trigger? So if you are looking at something for too long, an action is triggered. How do you transition from one scene to another? So if you're looking at a particular scene and you want to go from one level to another, how do you do that in virtual reality? And finally, how do you grab and release objects in virtual reality? Each of these interactions are something that we'll be developing in our upcoming lectures in this chapter. Why are interactions so important? So, as I said, interactions give the sense of interactivity, the sense of believing in our entire virtual reality experiences. It allows us to explore the various virtual reality experiences. And because of all these factors, it immerses us in that virtual reality to an extent so that we forget our current reality and are transported in that reality. So let me give you an example. So we were looking at a virtual reality experience where you had to walk the ledge. So we had kept a plank of wood, and in virtual reality, we had coordinated with HTC Vive and that plank of wood to actually make sure that that plank of wood is seen in virtual reality. So when we were walking on that small plank of wood, we were as if walking on the ledge on a very top building, and that gave us a sort of an immersive feeling, such that we were scared even to step on the side. So these are the kind of interactions that we need to develop, because then we are much more immersed in that virtual world and we start feeling as if it is real. So that's why interactions are very important in virtual reality. However, what are the ill effects of these interactions? So first of all, let's say walking. Now think about you are wearing this VR glasses and you want to actually walk in virtual reality. So you might be walking, you can look down as you'll be developing the virtual reality, and you start walking. But if you look at it, right, your body in your present reality is just stationary, or you might be sitting, and you are actually walking in virtual reality. So your mind is or your brain is kind of confused ki what is exactly happening. So during such times, what happens is many people start feeling this effect of nausea or start feeling very giddy. That's why the virtual reality experiences have to design in such a way that they do not induce these kind of effects for a person. So let me give you another example. One of the projects I remember distinctly was developing a virtual reality experience for passengers which are sitting in the back seat of a car for a long drive. So, for example, many people get bored for a long drive if they have to travel for business or if they have to travel for some work or so. So, they want to experience this virtual reality. So, now if you put on this virtual reality goggles and you're experiencing this virtual reality, your body is ideally moving inside a car. But in virtual reality, you might be moving differently. So, it actually led to a sense of giddiness or a sense of nausea in that person because the body was kind of confused what is exactly happening. So that's the problem with interactions in virtual reality which you have to affect. So whenever you design, you have to make sure all these effects are taken into consideration because they have definitely an effect on a person when a person is going into an immersiveness or into a celebrity presence or a flow situation. So keep all these in mind, and when you design your own virtual reality experience, all these things will help you to create a better virtual reality experience for your end user. Thank you very much.